Noodles, you called that game last night, Ottawa, Calgary. And credit to Ottawa. Like, they continue to play hard and pick up wins. They're picking up wins. But that's not the story of last night, clearly.
No.
It is Calgary. They are in a really bad spot. Really bad spot. They got smoked last night. And the Habs, like, they're in a similar spot. The third period, that was not even close. Like, I was so impressed with Winnipeg last night, but so unimpressed with the resolve of Montreal. They had nothing.
Yeah.
No life in the third. And Vancouver was just like, we're not winning tonight. Like, it's just weird with these three teams right now.
Dude,
you're right. Man. So let's go to Ottawa because, I thought the schedule caught up with Calgary because, the night before, like Calgary played very well. I thought Calgary gave the Leafs what they could. They played them well. They played them tight. Now, the goalie played well. David Riddick was a difference in that series to help Calgary get 3 out of 4 points. So he ran out of gas last night. Like when you get scored on from outside the blue line, that's a night where it's not going well. That being said, I said on the broadcast, like, you have to give credit to the Ottawa Senators. Mm-hmm. In the last couple of weeks, they've beat Toronto, they beat Winnipeg, they beat Montreal twice, and now they beat Calgary. And we said it all along. At the start of the year, their first 15 games, they had 2 wins. And I think we had even something on Jerry's percentage or what. Are they going to get to 10 wins? Just
10 in regulation.
Yeah, 10, But, this is more like the team that I've expected than what we saw on that 7-game road trip.
Full credit to them, but when you're Calgary and you had lost 4 or 5, and on Saturday night got embarrassed, like McDavid was playing a video game against you.
You're right.
And then on the Monday night, they played well, but I thought the Leafs played okay too, and Riddick stood on his head. A couple of nights ago, they were okay. Like, I thought the Leafs were the better team, but they get a point in overtime. So they leave Toronto with 3 points. You'd think, okay, this should put us in a position to get our season back on track, and they get smoked by Ottawa last night. And Calgary is reeling right now, as they should be. Vancouver is reeling. Montreal loses again last night in regulation. Joining us now on the Maple Toyota Hotline here is our TSN Hockey analyst, Ray Ferraro. Those are the 3 markets where the flames are burning the most at this point. Do you care to rank them? Like, which one do you think is in the biggest panic at this point? Calgary, Vancouver, or Montreal?
Montreal, because they always start out ahead. Mm-hmm. Like they're always, it seems like, just an inch away from chaos. Like, it's so intense and so focused there. I always found that anyway with Montreal. Vancouver's slipping into the realization that they're not very good.
Right.
And I think a lot of people are starting to realize it's unbelievable that they haven't, and a lot of us took a lot of heat over this, that maybe their roster construction is upside down. Like, maybe they're paying way too much money for guys that don't give them enough.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so
but people there, Ray, probably say, you know what, they got us so excited in the playoffs. Why do we deserve this downer now? I guarantee you they're saying that. They were so horned up.
It is for sure. It is for sure, because it's like a guy that gets 40 goals once, that doesn't make him a 40-goal scorer. It means the guy got 40 goals. So they do really well in the bubble, but really, did they? They were getting outshot by 1 million every night. You can't keep winning like that. Yet the thought was, oh, this team is on the rise. No, it's not. And they weren't as good when this season started as they were when they were in the bubble because of the players that they lost. Like, I don't – like, I, as you guys know, I could care less if they win or lose or otherwise. It doesn't matter to me. Mm. I don't know how anybody could look at that with an unbiased eye and go, paying Antoine Roussel $3 million and paying Jay Beagle $3 million and paying Tyler Myers $30 million over 5 years. Like, how is any of that going to help you win? They've got, I don't know how many millions of money dead on their cap. Like, they got Louis Eriksson for $6 million. I don't know if he's on the taxi squad or what he's doing.
Oh my God!
Like it's death. for them. And until they can run that money off the books, how are you going to make the team better? This team is capped out, and they're not very good.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Ray.
Go ahead,
Sorry to interrupt. No,
I was just going to say, and I think Calgary is as big an underachiever as there is. Like right now, I will say I was fooled by Calgary because I think they're a pretty good team, and they're not very good right now. They stink. They don't put up much of a fight. They get behind. They get blown out. They play 2 good games. They play 4 bad games. I thought they were going to be much better.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump on the Vancouver thing. Like, my whole thing coming into the season is you look at roster construction and what they had lost and what they were replacing it with. That was the difference. That's why I believed that they were going to take a step back. Just like, Demko's going to be a nice goaltender. He's not Markstrom for me. And I thought maybe Holtby would be the soft landing. The truth of the matter is that team gives up a ton of chances regardless, whether who's in net. It's just Markstrom was able to mask that. Tanev's a really good player. I thought Nate Schmidt would cover that up. But you look up front, Virtanen, who's been a healthy scratch and in and out of Greeny's doghouse. That Höglander's going to be a nice player, but you can't expect him to replace, guys like Toffoli and that. I thought on paper they took a step back, and they certainly have. Where Calgary, at least like the goalie's out, I think they can get up off the mat if the goalie comes back and plays well. And then same thing, I'll slide to Montreal. I guess this would be my question to all three of you. If you had to rank who could get up off the mat, like I think we're all agreeing that Vancouver's going to have a tough time getting off the mat.
Yeah, I think that's over.
Can Calgary and Montreal get off the mat? Obviously, it's at one spot
one
available,
of them's getting
right?
in by default. That's the only thing that kind of saves you right now is where
somebody's getting in.
Someone is going to get in by default, right? Like Toronto's getting in. It feels like Edmonton and Winnipeg are moving in that direction right now based on how they're playing. I think that goes without saying. So if you feel positive about those 3 teams as of right now, someone is going to get in by default. But that doesn't mean you feel great about your standing, nor should you. Mm-hmm. And feel great about where you're moving in the future.
Come back to your point, Brian, about star players. Like that's really the truth right now in this cap era is your top players have to be your top players, and your support players have to be better on nights when those top players aren't going. That's really the formula that we're seeing throughout the league. Mm-hmm. And, you look right through and even go south of the border. Like in Boston, it's Marchand, Pasternak, Bergeron. Like, it's your core. Even go down to Florida, like Huberdeau, Barkov. Like, it's your goaltender. Like, and again, you come back to Montreal, like you need stops. Like if you don't have goaltending, you're screwed in this league. If you can't get saves at the right time, and ultimately that's why when I look at certain teams, I think they've got an opportunity to get off the mat if their star players get going.
Absolutely.
I just worry about Vancouver.
Vancouver I think is they're in a different category. Like they're in a really bad spot. I don't think they have enough to get in. They've played more games than anyone else. Also, like everyone's got games in hand on them, and they're way up on them. Calgary and Montreal, one of those 2 teams is going to get in.
What's Vancouver going to do, though, Hayes? They're going to come back with the same roster next year, basically.
Well, exactly. There's nothing you can trade off that
where is
roster
that roster going? It's just going to be the same thing. You can't just sit and promise everybody things are changing. Same guys are coming back.
Well, that's why I say earlier on in Vancouver, I think the people are just realizing, oh, wait a minute, this isn't going to get fixed in a couple of weeks.
Right.
Or a couple of months. This is a mess. It's probably a bigger mess than people realize it is.
Yep.
Because it's not going to. You can't make those contracts go away in one moment. There's nobody else to take the contracts that you don't want anymore that you signed in the first place.
Right.
Right. Like they're stuck by their own decisions here, and they don't have a lot of draft picks that are in the lineup. I don't know what it's like in other places, but man, people in Vancouver, I live here, right? So I see it. They overvalue what their prospects are. Like I'm reading these comments on Vasily Podkolzin when he's available to come, like how he's going to be a top-line player and play with Pettersson. And, oh, my God, the guy's 20 years old.
Yeah, that's a Toronto vibe right there.
Yeah, man, like let him come in and, he's going to be an NHL player and a good one. But, man, to think he's the turnaround guy, it's like Höglander. Man, the guy's awesome. I love watching him play, but he's 20.